Welcome everybody to the X Factor podcast today on this Tuesday afternoon, and we're just getting ready to talk about some good stuff here today. And of course, while you see on the screen, I'm going to be talking about the Odell Beckham trade. I'm going to be talking about Jeff Okudah trade that just happened this morning. I'm going to be talking about SmackDown, Rampage, Battle of the Belts, and then I'm going to be talking about Monday Night Raw. Sorry I didn't record yesterday. Kind of overslept. It was a Monday. And sorry for the sound in the back. That is an air conditioner going. So, if that is a problem, let me know for the next episode. I'll just turn it off after when I'm doing this episode. So, and follow the TikTok X Factor MG or X Factor Sports 420, all lowercase for the TikTok, and follow the Twitter X Factor MG5654. The X and the MG are capitalized, and that is my Twitter account. So, getting right into this here, the Odell Beckham has signed with the Baltimore Ravens. I think it was 1 year, $18 million deal, and I'm going to tell you right now, I think that is way overpaid. If it was a 2 year, $18 million deal, it would be a lot, but it would be an average because he would get 9 a year, and now he's getting 18 mil just to play one season. And you don't know if he's gonna come back the next year. If they would have gone for multiple years, I think that'd be good because you're trying to bring back Lamar and all that. But right now, it doesn't look like it's a good situation. Lamar still wanting to get a trade. Later on this week, I would keep saying I'm going to do these mock drafts. I'm going to get them done. I'm going to get them done by the time the draft starts. I promise you that. And then my trade packages for Lamar I'll get out as well. But right now, as we stand, I think Lamar or the Odell Beckham signing was overpaid. So that's all I really gotta say. I don't know how he's gonna do next year because I don't know if Lamar's staying or Lamar is not staying. I don't know what's going on there, but we're gonna get right into it with another trade that happened here today. All right, Jeff Okudah has been traded to the Falcons for a 5th round pick. I honestly thought he was gonna stay in Detroit for another year. To be honest with you. Be openly honest with you, I thought it was going to happen, but it did not happen. The Falcons are making another trade to help with their secondary. I think it'll help them as much as Jeff Okudah has struggled throughout his first couple years in the NFL. I think it could help him with the people like Jesse Bates and some of them guys that are on there, and I feel like it just could be the right scheme for him. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't really work out, but alright, so we're going to get right into it here with SmackDown reactions. There was nothing much NFL-wise to talk about, but, SmackDown, everyone had high hopes for it because of the whole Vince McMahon situation going on right now, but it looked like they fixed it up this past Friday. The start was Brawling Brutes versus Imperium, and, we've seen this a couple times before, but every time they have it, it's been amazing matches. And, Brawling Brutes end up with the win. At some point, I want to see Imperium and Brawling Brutes tag title match. That's down the road, in my opinion. I feel like we're going to get Sheamus and Gunther again sometime down the road. And I feel like the third time is when Sheamus will get that win. But, like I said, really good match. It'll probably lead up to at least one more match with Sheamus and Gunther. But it's just going to be a really good match. Paul Heyman had a little bit of a segment talking about what Brock did. And, he didn't really talk about Brock, but Jey Uso showed up. And, he had to wrestle Sami Zayn by himself last night, or Friday, because of Roman told Jey to stay home, or Jimmy to stay home. And the more I keep looking into this, the more I keep feeling that the Usos are going to leave Roman, when they really have to. And I think in Roman, he doesn't want to look at Jey and Jimmy because he doesn't want to acknowledge that they lost the titles. it's gonna be interesting what they do. But Paul did tell Solo the job has to. If Jay doesn't do the job, then Solo has to do it for him. So it's getting more feisty by the week, by the looks of it. And one other thing I've been thinking about this last couple weeks. It looks like they're trying to make Solo the guy to replace Roman. With how much Solo's been with Paul Heyman and all that, and how much Paul's been up in this Solo's game and everything. It looks like Paul and all of them are gonna leave Roman. It'll be the Usos and Solo with Paul, which honestly would be fucking amazing. But Ricochet versus Ivar in a weirded matchup. No one really expected this match to happen. Give me a second here. No one really expected that match to happen. Or no one really, expects that to be on one of the match cards. Just two tag guys on a singles match. It did happen. And it was pretty good. Ricochet is one of those guys that, he could have, you can't have one bad match with him. I don't remember a match where Ricochet has had that's been hard to watch. Ivar and the Viking Raiders been about one or two maybe. Otherwise, there hasn't been really much. Like I said, but Ricochet ended up with the win. Good match. And I don't know what this is going to lead up to, but it'll probably lead up to a Braun Strowman and all them with Viking Raiders and all that. Sammy, Kevin had a backstage segment. And Sammy told Kevin that he needed to look for Sammy. Or look for Jay. My bad. And he needed to talk to him. Which I find weird that Sammy's still trying to talk to Jay and all that. It makes it seem like it's an ex-boyfriend-girlfriend situation. Oh, I gotta talk to him. Or I gotta talk to her or whatever. But I'll get more later on. Because there's more that happened to that. Raquel and Liv Morgan facing Natalya and Shotzi in a tag match. As of course, Raquel and Liv had a tag title match on Monday against Lita and Becky. A very quick match. Raquel and Liv ended up with the win, and not really much happened there. LA Knight, there was a segment with Madcap Moss and Xavier Woods playing 2K. And of course, your boy, LA Knight, came up and, not mentioning that he wasn't in WrestleMania and all these video games and stuff, and threw Xavier Woods' controller, which is going to lead up to a Xavier Woods versus LA Knight match next week on SmackDown. But I'm telling you, LA Knight, man, he might be 40. And, people are saying that he can't be a top guy because of his age. He could be a top guy. AJ Styles was 38 and was a champion in WWE. So, Triple H had an announcement on SmackDown. A lot of people expected to be a Fire Vince stuff. Or, Triple H was saying the same thing that he did on Raw and introducing the champion. It was a little bit of both. But the main thing we got out of it is we're getting a draft, which a lot of people are saying it's pointless, since September. And yeah, it's been a little bit of pointless since September because of, with Judgment Day and all that stuff going on. And I think the draft is going to help re-split the brands and reset everything. The reset's always supposed to happen after WrestleMania, but there's also some rivalries you need to keep going for another month after WrestleMania. And that's why I think they're going to do it right after Backlash and then right before King of the Ring starts, so you get your little shapes in there. So, I can't wait for the draft. And he said every WWE superstar is involved, which that makes me think why they didn't have any returns besides Riddle on Monday last week, because the draft's going to do it for him. So, he introduced Rhea and all that stuff. And they Judgment Day had a match with LWO, Rey Mysterio, and Santos Escobar. Judgment Day ended up with the win. It was a good match, and I'm loving the LWO, the Latino World Order. So I love them to death. It just feels different instead of saying Legado del Fantasma. I feel like it's like better, but I don't know. We are getting a return next week though, and good old Shinsuke Nakamura is coming back to SmackDown next Friday. Big stuff there. As you know, we haven't seen him on WWE television since like October or November of last year. It's great to see Shinsuke coming back. So, and right before the main event there, Sammy did talk to Jay and, pretty much saying the same stuff about leaving Roman and all that. And then Solo, there was a big bump, right? There was like a big scene where, a big loud crash. Solo threw like one of those production little boxes things on Kevin's leg. But if you notice, the same hallway that Sammy and Jay were in, Paul could see him talking. And he was talking to Roman on the phone when all that was happening. So Paul got to see Jay and Sammy actually talk. So Sammy and Jay had the match after that, and it was a good match. Solo came in the middle of it, and cost Sammy the win. And I don't care how many times they have a match, it's always going to be good. That's just what I feel like. It's just always going to be good. And, Solo's going to hit him with a Samoan spike. Jay stopped him. And he ended up doing a super kick and kicking his ass. And then, Riddle came out and pretty much, came out and took out Solo and Jay and all that stuff. Or tried to, at least. So that's all that really happened on SmackDown. I'm going to get into it here with Rampage and Battle of the Belts talk here because it was actually pretty good. So, alright, so let's get into some Rampage stuff here. It started off with Hook and Ethan Page and FTW Rules for the FTW title. Last time we got FTW Rules with the match was Sabu and Taz in 1999, and Taz ended up losing to Sabu. So, great history for you there. It was about the same distance, or same, as long as the match as I expected it to be with FTW Rules on the line. They went in the crowd and all that fun stuff. Came back in the ring and pretty much Hook got him at the end. But it was a good match. No Matt Hardy interference, so it's going to be interesting what they do now with Matt Hardy, Hook, and all of them. Or Matt Hardy, Ethan Page, and Cassidy and all that going on right there. QTV was on right after that. I'm, the first week of showing it, QTV, I'm like, okay, I'm digging it. But, at this point, I just cringe when I watch it. And I see people on Twitter, and it's mostly AEW, just AEW fans, saying how good it is, and I want to know what's so good about it, to be honest with you. It's like I watch it and I cringe because it's like I have to look away watching it because it's just so cringe. And I don't know if it's because of the two people that are with him, Aaron Solo and that one chick, or if it's just the whole group. Because, when I expected QTV, I thought it was going to be QT Marshall and Powerhouse Hobbs. That's it. But, Aaron Solo and that one chick, it's just, I don't know. I'm honestly not liking the QTV stuff right now. At the start, I was kind of looking at it, I'm like, okay, cool, we're going to get some cool stuff going in here. But, the QTV stuff and, that. And I've seen Powerhouse Hobbs last year or so, and he's not much of a trash talker. He comes and beats ass, leaves, and they're talking trash and all that shit. It's just it's not really much of a cute or Powerhouse Hobbs thing, but I don't know. I could be tripping. I don't know. All I know is every time I watch QTV, I cringe. And I gotta apologize for my Dynamite stuff because I said the Acclaimed and Daddy Magic and Angela Parker were gonna have a match against each other. No, they had a 4-way match or 8-man tag against a bunch of jobbers. They came with the win, and then of course Magic and Angela Parker turned on the Acclaimed, and not really much shocking stuff there, but it's gonna lead up to a rivalry, of course, but it's just weird seeing them like that and not in the tag top pictures for the Acclaim, of course. So, Lee Moriarty first Darby Allin in a really, really good match. I enjoyed that, and I have to give props to Darby because that day before Rampage and Battle Belts was live, straight up live, and the day before Darby got hit by a car. No joke, he got hit by a car skateboarding, and he still wrestled that Friday. So I gotta give props to Darby Allin. Lee Moriarty. Every time I see Lee Moriarty, he's good in the ring. I just like what he brings to the table. Same with Darby. It's just his finisher. Not a big fan of that, but otherwise everything else I think is good. Really good match. Darby ended up with the win, despite the car stuff. Swerve had an announcement saying he was going to merge with somebody, and we didn't know who because we were waiting for it. And he came out and trying to shake Darby's hand, and all you know is Brian Cage came out and pretty much did an F5 on Darby Allin. I honestly did not expect it. The embassy is now with Swerve with Swerve Strickland. I honestly did not expect any of that. So it's gonna be fun to see Brian Cage with Swerve. So, main event time: Julia Hart versus Anna Jay, and in my opinion, it was an alright matchup. Still good, because I don't really see much unless you watch Dark or whatever. Julia Hart's usually do a match on Dark, and Anna Jay, same thing, doesn't really get many matches either. But I thought it was a good match for the main event. Anna Jay ended up the win. Or no, Julia Hart ended up the win with the spray mist in the face. And that was the main event of Rampage. It was good. But there was a match I need to talk about. Duelistico versus Orange Cassidy. Them two spent like the first 20 minutes in Battle of the Belts, and they had a perfect banger. It is something we need to see more of that. Definitely need to see more of that. And people hate on Orange Cassidy because of it's always just a whatever, this, blah blah blah, that, whatever, whatever, all that, and then you stuff with the pocket. Yeah, it might be a little boring to some people, but you can't deny that Orange Cassidy is a good athlete and a good wrestler when he shines. Because I don't think there's ever been a match where I'm just like, bad. And Devin White, linebacker for the Buccaneers, has requested a trade. Just seeing that now, so. I'll get in that too later on too, so. But every Orange Cassidy match, I sit there and I'm enjoying every bit of it. It doesn't matter who's in the ring with him. I enjoy it, and if those are the people that I watch and I never get bored watching, those are the people I'm gonna like, and I'm slowly liking Orange Cassidy. At the start of it, I'm just not really into it because of the pocket thing, and same thing every match. But he can bring on some good classics. So, Jay Cargill versus Billy Stark, the 18-year-old, for the TBS title. And let me tell you, they have really found a future for some of the women in their division right now. Billy Starks, man, she is an 18-year-old coming in, and, you know, some of those 18-year-olds, you know, you expect them to train a long time and, you know, come in and do all that. With AEW, they do the opposite. They just bring them right in, blood-bred, newborn babies coming right in. And Billy Starks is really going to be one of the... And that Nick Wayne guy, I think it's Nick Wayne, I don't... Same with him, too. They're both futures of the company, and Billy Starks really showed that on Friday with the match with Jay Cargill. And it was, like, a really good match. And, you know, Billy Starks, as an 18-year-old and having this match, I thought it should be like another 5-minute match and leave type of thing. But no, it went on for like a near 10 minutes probably. But Cargill, of course, ended up to win 55-0. I do think Taya Valkyrie is going to beat that record soon. So, and here's some nonsense. I want to get into some people here. Brandon Cutler, and Michael Nakazawa are having a match next week. Yes, you heard me right. Michael Nakazawa, Brandon Cutler are having a match next week. You heard me right. And they are facing Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley. It is stupid, but also it's going to be funny at the same time. Because it makes no sense, but, well, it kind of does make sense. Because, you know, they're going through the entire elite and all that, but they're going to get fucking murdered. I put on Twitter, I bet $20 Brandon Cutler dies first. So, but, I said to knock that one out because there was a little bit of a backstage segment, and they're going to get cooked. My God, they're going to get cooked. And that is going to get some ugly stuff going. So, I don't know, man. We're going to witness a murder on live television. But, the main event for Battle of the Belts was QT Marshall and Powerhouse Hobbs versus the Lucha Bros for the Ring of Honor tag titles. And another banger matchup that, you know, the Lucha Bros bring every time. Powerhouse Hobbs brings every time. QT Marshall brings somewhat of the time. There's something about the Lucha Libre wrestlers that makes me want to, like, freaking dance for no reason. I just love them. I love them, straight up. Hell, if I wanted to, I would just watch AAA if I really wanted to, but I love wrestling in all ways, so. Monday Night Raw, I haven't talked about Raw yet. Good matchup between Powerhouse Hobbs. And the way Powerhouse Hobbs sells for the Lucha Bros is insane, though. Because, like, people like him, you expect not to sell really good for him. But, like, he can sell. And that's something I want to keep an eye on right there. But good matchup for the main event. And don't really know what's much for the Lucha Bros. Gotta wait for Ring of Honor, so. But let's get into some Monday Night Raw stuff. Alright, so Monday Night Raw started with Rey Mysterio coming out and talking about the whole this whole year in general, about him in the Hall of Fame, wrestling his son and all that. And all I gotta say is before Dom came out, or before I say anything about Dom and everything, the whole promo just, there was a lot of mess ups, but it was funny because Dominic Mysterio was doing it. So, Rey came out, Dom came out right after that. And all I gotta say is that man's a heat magnet. He draws heat out of every. You know, you see him in catering, he got heat. You see him in the toilet, he got heat. You see him in Antarctica, guess what? The snow around him melted because he got heat. Dominic got heat from every single side of the moon. And I also showed Friday too when he had his little promo segment as well. That man got heat from the snow. He melts ice with his hand with how much heat that man gets. That man can't even eat food because every time he touches it, it gets heat and burnt. Which burnt is what it started with his promo. They were burnt toast. Messing up the keep my name out your mouth stuff. or it was he said like keep my name out your name out my mouth or whatever. But he's a heat magnet, so he said that he wanted to stay with Judgment Day, or like he wants to be with real family Judgment Day. Ray pretty much told him that that's not the case. They're brainwashing you pretty much, and he told him to grow some balls. So that was some funny stuff, and he said Bad Bunny will be back. And Ray wanted a rematch. And of course, Dom says, "Oh, I can't fight my dad." Bruh. Homie. Lebroni. Baloney. But Finn Balor out of nowhere just had a match with him. And after the man had a C-grade calf strain and 14 stitches in the head, the man's wrestling 9 days after his match with Edge. Props to Finn Balor. And Finn Balor and Ray had a really good match as well. They had a really good match to start off Raw and everything. So, Ray of course lost with Dominic hitting him in the head with the steel chain, and Finn Balor ended up to win. But another thing I gotta get into here, they did have some travel issues, so some of the stuff for Raw was cut out. But it is what it is. Just give me a second here. Lita, it's to start off with the Maximum Male Models with Otis, Chad Gable, Maxine Dupree. And Maxine Dupree's getting sick of Chad Gable, man. By the way, she just wants to kill the man. I think she's just trying to kill him. But, start off with that, but then he got cut off because Lita got beat up, and no one knows who did it. I know who did it. I knew once I seen her on the ground. I knew who did it. Because, like I said, I'm a booking master, because I would have done the same thing. But, I even posted on my Twitter who did it, so, right after that, Trish and Becky were worried about what's gonna happen. And, well, it ended up being Trish and Becky versus Raquel and Liv. There were spots in that match where I felt like we were good, but there was also spots in that match where it was sloppy. And people are saying this was a slow match. And I'm not going to try to sound sexist here, but it's going to sound sexist anyway. But a lot of women matches are slow. And it's different because with the men, they're like flying like freaking airplanes across from each other because they got this unpowered speed, and they're like much bigger than the women. And I think that everyone can agree. Some of the men are way bigger than the women. But then you got some of the women that are bigger than some men. And, like, Piper Niven, Raquel, Ronda, even though she looks small, she's fucking huge. Shayna Baszler, people like them, And, that's what I feel like with some women matches, especially with Liv Morgan matches. They're slow. Like, they're slow, but they can be good. But the problem is not it was slow. I feel like it was just there were spots that were sloppy, but there were spots, but they were good. Like there was good spots, sloppy spots, all in the little same right there. Overall, it was a matchup. It just didn't help with the sloppy spots. But Liv ended up pinning Trish for the win. New tag team champions, women tag team champions with Raquel and Liv. Love the tag team, by the way. And Trish turned on Becky. And I'm telling you, Trish took out Lita as well. I feel like most of us expect this to happen because of the rumors that are going around on Twitter. So, it's going to be fun to see what they do with Trish and Becky. And heel Trish is always the best Trish. And, Paul Heyman had a segment right after that. And, they mentioned travel issues. And, how Kevin's alone tonight. And, he wasn't really alone but Seth Rollins never showed up either. But he made it seem like that Riddle, Sammy, their travel issues made it seem like it was the Bloodline's problem. Like, the Bloodline caused it. That's what I find interesting. But I'll get on later on that with the main event. But, that's just something I gotta keep for granted right there. Trish tried to have Byron Saxton tried to have a segment with Trish Stratus. She didn't answer at all, so nothing really going on there. And then Bailey had a segment with Damage Control. Bailey came back this week after Twitter and all the AEW stands pretty much said, Bailey's coming to AEW. She doesn't want to be in WWE. She came back, and Io Sky and Dakota Kai were trying to get tag title matches. Yeah, so they tried to get tag title matches, and it didn't get happen because they're all worried about the draft. But Bailey said that she got herself a number one contendership match and a triple threat. Io Sky went ballistic. Oh my god, she went nuts on Bailey and pretty much saying, "What about us?" and all that. And Bailey pretty much got it to change where one of them two would be in the title match or in the contender match. And Io Sky ended up being there with Michin and Piper Niven, and that match was amazing. First off, and I feel like that's good for Piper Niven and Michin, for people that don't get shown much, don't get much match time and all that. So it was good for them. But Io ended up with the win, and Bailey just looked jealous after that. So, Bobby Lashley faced Bronson Reed in a first off big meaty men's meat match. I loved it. I loved every second of that matchup. At the end, it looked like Bronson was getting a little gassed, but then again, every match he's had since he came back has been 2-minute squash matches. So it's good to see him in a longer match with guys that can hang around with him, with Bobby. And then disqualification, many people did not like that decision, but if you really think about it, neither one of them two could afford a loss. So it's going to end up being a no disqualification or last man standing, falls count anywhere match, one of those three later on in the future. I hope it's at Backlash. I hope they have more than just 2 matches. I want to at least have 3 or 4 maybe. But he'll have a best out of 7 series. I will enjoy every single one of them. But that's all that pretty much happened there. Cody Rhodes had a segment pretty much talking about how he lost. And he did mention the rubber chickens. Law good. And he challenged Brock to a match at Backlash. All I gotta say is if Cody wins, that's gonna be some interesting stuff. Because since Brock came back, he's only lost to guys like Triple H, Undertaker, Cena, Roman, Drew, Goldberg. What do they all have in common? They're bigger, muscular men. He's lost to Seth, but if you think about it, the WrestleMania match that he had with Seth, he had the low blow him. I did not watch the SummerSlam match. I wasn't watching wrestling at that point because I quit watching wrestling after WrestleMania. After I quit watching wrestling after the Money in the Bank match when Brock won. But it was just, most of those guys, were able to beat him, bigger guys. And if Cody's able to beat him, I know that'll help him a lot. So, the Usos first Alpha Academy in a banger matchup. Let me tell you, that was some of the best, one of the best tag matches I've seen on Raw in the last year. And the more I'm seeing it, the more I don't want the Alpha Academy to break up now. If you noticed a couple weeks ago, I said I want Alpha Academy to break up. Now I don't really want it because of Otis. Man, Otis is a treasure. Chad Gable and Otis are good together, but I want to see Chad Gable on a singles run too. So, really good matchup. I think it went on for about 10 minutes maybe. And of course, Usos ended up with the win. So, but like I said, really good matchup. And in the main event, Solo Sikoa for Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, Solo, of course, another matchup, another banger. Solo ended the win after pretty much the Usos cheating to get their way in the win there. They were taking out Kevin after the match, but then boom, Sammy and Riddle showed up, and that's how Raw ended, with Riddle and Sammy coming out and taking out the Bloodline. So, that's all I really got for you today. Overall, I think it was the last SmackDown, Battle Belts, Rampage, Raw. I think all of it was good. I think there was no part of it where there was like boring. I just enjoyed it all. So maybe it's a sign of Triple H being there booking it all instead of Vince. I don't know, but I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow about NXT. So later.